Welcome to Etihad Focus, your home for the latest match updates, transfer news, breaking rumours, and exclusive training insights. If you love football and want fast, accurate updates, you're in the right place. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay connected with all the action only on Etihad Focus. What Pep Guardiola saw from Marc Guehi in Manchester City training as teammate claim made Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola spoke about Marc Guehi after the £20 million signing made his debut for the club. Pep Guardiola likened Marc Guehi to Ruben Dias as he praised the immediate impact the £20 million signing has made for Manchester City. Guehi completed a move from Crystal Palace this week and made his debut in a 2-0 win over Wolves that steadies the ship at the Etihad Stadium after a difficult start to 2026. City's victory ended a run of just 3 points from their last 4 matches in the Premier League and moves them to within 4 points of Arsenal ahead of the leaders taking on United on Sunday. Guehi did not train with his new teammates until they returned from their Champions League defeat in Bodo on Thursday. But the last few days have been enough for Guardiola to know what a talent the club have on their books for the next 5.5 years. It's not necessary to tell you about Marc and who he is. The captain from Crystal Palace, national team for your country, and he knows everything. You had a feeling from day one, he said. I remember Ruben Dias had incredible focus in every action and winning duels. With the ball, he had incredible composure. We didn't train anything yet, but I have the feeling with the people in the middle move a little bit better. They have not come for 6 months, they've come for many years. The transfer is a really good prize, and they are the perfect age, 25-26, so an incredible signing for Manchester City for many years. He's a guy you can rely on. You see it in 2 training sessions, how he moves, how he talks, how he sees what happens to surround him, reading the situations. Really good. Guehi will not be available for City on Wednesday night against Galatasaray in a game they must win if they want to have any hopes of going straight through to the Champions League last 16 without needing a 2-legged playoff. However, with Josko Gvardiol, Dias, and John Stones still injured, he will almost certainly come back into the 11 for the Premier League game at Tottenham next Sunday afternoon. Pep Guardiola rages at Prem refs again as Manchester City boss calls out Howard Webb. Pep Guardiola was furious with referee Farai Hallam's decision not to give Manchester City a penalty during their win over Wolves, and he made it known in his press conference. Pep Guardiola has claimed that Manchester City overcame Wolves despite the performance of the officials, as he criticised PGMOL chief Howard Webb for justifying a foul during last week's Manchester derby. Guardiola claimed Diogo Dalot's tackle on Jeremy Doku forced the City winger to miss their Champions League defeat to Bodo/Glimt in midweek and slammed Webb for publicly backing the decision. Guardiola was incensed on Saturday after his side were denied a penalty against Wolves in City's 2-0 victory. Omar Marmoush demanded a spot kick for handball, and it was referred to VAR, who recommended referee Farai Hallam, making his Premier League debut, to review the monitor. Maintaining his initial judgment, Hallam determined it wasn't a penalty, as he stated that the defender's arms were in a natural position when the ball struck him. Guardiola was unhappy about the decision following the match, and he also remains annoyed about Webb publicly declaring that Dalot's foul merited only a yellow card, as he urged his players to fight the decisions that he believes are working against his team. Yesterday, I said I had the feeling that not having the players for the last 2 seasons is the only regret I have, Guardiola said. I would love to have players to fight against that. We won despite them. We did 6 Premier Leagues in 9 years, so why do I not have the players? The referee made a huge debut. Now everybody will know him. I think it's the first time they go to the TV and disallowed what is a normal position of the arms. I'm pretty sure that Howard Webb tomorrow is going to appear in the media to explain why it's not a penalty and what he did against United, like it was the first time he had done it because there was a little bit of doubt. That's why Jeremy could not play in Norway for the action from Dalo. But it's okay. I'm waiting tomorrow. Don't wait for Wednesday. We have Champions League. We are busy. Howard Webb, come tomorrow and explain why it's not a penalty. That's why bring me back the players, please, to fight what we have done since day one. It's too much. Guardiola's frustrations with officials stretch back to when he first arrived at the Etihad Stadium a decade ago. But his grievances have grown stronger following a meeting at the start of the season, which seemed to suggest that Erling Haaland and others would receive greater protection. The failure of this to materialise has left the City manager increasingly frustrated. Come tomorrow to explain the rules how it works again. Do you know how many fouls are whistled to Jeremy with his incredible speed? If you and me run side by side with our rhythm and they push us and go down, it's diving. But the speed with Jeremy, they touch a little bit and he cannot control his speed, Guardiola continued. Do you know how many fouls that they believe is diving from Jeremy? At the beginning of the season, they tell us that long balls, when the central defenders go over the shoulders of the striker, it will be a foul. We had a good meeting. Do you know how many fouls for Erling Haaland? He has had more fouls whistled against him than for him. It's again and again. Please bring me the players back is all I want. What we have done in 9 years. I'm so sorry for them. Premier League explain why Man City weren't awarded penalty, despite Wolves' handball. Manchester City played host to Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Etihad Stadium on Saturday afternoon, but were controversially denied a penalty when Yerson Mosquera handled the ball in his own area. Manchester City fans have been told why Farai Hallam decided not to award them a penalty in the first half against Wolves, despite a handball from Yerson Mosquera in his own area. The citizens already led the game 1-0 thanks to Omar Marmush's 6th-minute opener when the Wolves centre-back seemingly handled the ball. Marmush was driving into the Wolves area when he flicked the ball backwards in an effort to beat his man, only for it to bounce off the arm of Mosquera. Appeals inside the Etihad Stadium were loud, as Hallam, who was making his Premier League debut, was advised to take a second look at the incident from Darren England and Samuel Barrett on VAR duty. After checking the footage thoroughly, Hallam opted to stick with his original decision of no penalty. And now, the Premier League Match Centre has given an explanation of the referee's decision on social media. Taking to X, the account wrote, "After VAR review, the referee retained the on-field decision of no penalty to Manchester City. Referee announcement. After review, the ball hits the arm of the Wolves player, which is in a natural position, so the on-field decision will remain." Elsewhere, the panel on Sky Sports Soccer Saturday dissected the incident. Clinton Morrison explained, "He's going to have a look at the moment. He does get his shot away and hits the post. Marmush, he's been lively. I don't think he needs to have too many looks at this because we've all said after about 2 looks that it's a penalty, but he's still looking at the moment." Meanwhile, after receiving the referee's decision, Morrison added, "So he's a new referee. It's his first game. Darren England's told him to go and have a look at the monitor, and he said he's stuck with his decision. He's gave no penalty. Mike, what do you think?" Former referee Mike Dean then added, "If I'm being honest with you, the referee's position on field is good. I think the decision was given on field, and he hasn't give it on field. Fair play to him for going to the screen. He looked at it, I would say, 20 or 30 times, and I think the longer he looks at it, he's going to stick with it. I kind of get his arm was in a natural-ish position, but I think the distance as well was a bit harsh of him to give it." It didn't take Manchester City long to double their lead, however, with Antoine Semenyo finding the back of the net in stoppage time to put his club 2-0 up, headed into the break. It comes as the 26-year-old's third goal for his new club since his £64 million move from Bournemouth earlier this month, having scored against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup and Exeter in the FA Cup. What exceptional Mark Guehi will offer Manchester City and the surprise role John Stones has played. Mark Guehi competed his move to Manchester City this week